Here's the brief. News from the world over this week. As part one of the Synod on the Family wraps in Rome, the Vatican is backtracking on the contents of the publicly released working document that became a media sensation. The relatio, or report after the debate, is supposed to be a summary of the first week's discussion at the Synod. Among the statements causing a worldwide stir, support for allowing communion for divorced and remarried Catholics on a case-by-case basis, a recognition of the positive aspects of cohabitation and civil unions, and urging the acceptance and valuing of homosexual persons, as well as their gifts and qualities. Media outlets across the world suggested that those comments revealed a new openness and acceptance of gays and other issues in the Catholic Church. The reaction from cardinals in the Synod, who had not seen the report before its public dissemination, was swift. Many said it did not reflect the actual discussions in the Synod. Here is Cardinal Wilfred Napier of South Africa.
Has gone out, and it's not a true message that this Synod has taken up these positions, and whatever we say hereafter is going to be as if we're doing some damage control.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York had this to say when asked if he agreed with Cardinal Raymond Burke's suggestion that the working draft document should be scrapped and a new document created presenting church teaching.
Well, I think he's right. He's picked up on a sign that a lot of bishops, and I would include myself, feel that it needs some major reworking. But I can assure you that Cardinal Burke would be part of that enthusiastic unity in thinking anything we can do to welcome people into the church, anything we can do and to invite them to hear again, to hear the saving invitation and conversion of heart that comes from Jesus Christ, let's do it.
And more controversy for Cardinal Walter Kasper over comments made to a reporter. The German prelate, who's championed a plan to grant divorced and remarried Catholics the sacraments without an annulment, is being criticized for what some have described as racist comments. In an interview with Edward Penton, published in Zenit News, Cardinal Kasper dismisses concerns from his African counterparts with regard to homosexuality. The Cardinal noted that homosexuality is taboo in many parts of the world compared to the West. Then, referencing Africans, he said, quote, "They should not tell us too much what we have to do," end quote. Catholic commentators and bloggers have called the comments everything from stunningly insensitive to condescending and xenophobic. Cardinal Kasper has since denied making those comments. Zenit took the story down, but audio of the interview has now emerged, and apparently the Cardinal did make those comments. In a partially related story, following complaints that no African was on the report committee, Pope Francis on Thursday added Cardinal Napier to his hand-picked commission that will prepare the final Synod report. More on this wild and woolly Synod and what it all means with Robert Royal in our next segment. And the Islamic State persecution of Christians continues in Iraq. Fidesz news agency is reporting that the jihadist militants have desecrated a 4th century Syriac Catholic monastery. The group has controlled the monastery since July. After expelling the monks, the terrorists burned ancient manuscripts, removed crosses, and sprayed graffiti near the Mar Bernam monastery. It's not the first time Christians have been persecuted. According to church historians, the church was said to have suffered greatly during the reign of a Muslim ruler in the last half of the 18th century. Meanwhile, government officials in Iraq will provide 25,000 prefabricated homes for Christians who have fled Mosul and the Nineveh plain in the wake of the Islamic State advance. The homes will be placed in the autonomous region of Kurdistan during the next 45 days. These homes are badly needed and just in time for winter. Meanwhile, the Islamic State propaganda against Christianity is intensifying. The jihadi's trademark, a black flag, was shown photoshopped atop the obelisk in the middle of St. Peter's Square. The cover story title, "The Failed Crusade." Inside, it threatens the conquering of Rome and the breaking of crosses. It goes on to urge Muslims to attack and kill every crusader possible, adding that it is lawful to kidnap the women of the infidels and use them as sex slaves. Italy's ANSA news agency reports that the Vatican stepped up security last month following Islamic State threats. And in Alaska on Sunday, a U.S. District Court judge, Timothy Burgess, ruled that the state's first-in-the-nation voter-approved measure protecting traditional marriage was unconstitutional. This just 2 days after hearing opening arguments. Passed in 1998, the constitutional amendment defined marriage as being between one man and one woman. Save for a last-minute intervention by the U.S. Supreme Court, Alaska will begin issuing marriage licenses for same-sex couples on Friday. And on Wednesday, Texas abortion clinics that closed under tough new restrictions began reopening after winning a reprieve at the U.S. Supreme Court. A 5-sentence ruling late Tuesday blocked parts of a sweeping Texas abortion law, which in effect led to the closing of all but 8 clinics across Texas. The ruling is only a suspension pending appeals. Without comment, the High Court set aside the state mandate that abortion facilities meet hospital-level operating standards. The court also exempted clinics in El Paso and McAllen from a requirement that doctors who perform abortions have hospital admitting privileges. And the number of women religious in the United States continues to fall. According to Georgetown University's Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate, the number of American sisters has fallen below 50,000. The number represents a 100-year low and has steadily decreased since peaking at 181,000 in 1966. Some orders, however, are thriving. The top 6 drawing new vocations are all habited and considered, quote, conservative. 3 of the 6 are contemplative. Notable are the good sisters known as the Nashville Dominicans. They have grown by 76% since 2000.